So far so good. We've got navigation built in. We've got some different pages. I want to do one more thing, and it's a little more complicated, and I often trip up when I try to do this, but let's give it a shot. There's something called states, and states are really cool in Adobe XD. Again, another thing that's unique to XD. I can have start here and end there, and I can program that into a simple switch, and so I'm going to try to give that a shot. Let me add an element. So I want my menu element. All right, let me see if I can get my menu icon here. I'm going to stick it in the upper left corner of the home page, make it much, much smaller. Then I'm going to add some text. And when I add the text, I think I'll make that even smaller. I'll add some text under it with the 4 city names. So let me just hit T, and I might change this typeface if it defaults back to that original one, but let's see. All right, so let me add my text. Add the text again, and I'll show you why. I'm going to do it in a different way. Now, this is a little interesting. What I'm going to do is not group these together. So let me hit T, and I'll put text down here again. Let me go down here and add text. I'll add Paris. We'll give it the same treatment. I'll leave it at those 2 for the moment. A couple things. I'm going to go ahead and put navigation for Barcelona. So we click on the word Barcelona. It takes us to that page, and we're going to want it to slide. Let's see what the auto animate does. I'll go to Paris, and we'll navigate this one to that second artboard. Goes to Paris. Perfect. All right, now back to design. And now what I'm going to do is see if I can combine these with that connecting architecture, that navigation already built in. I'm going to see if I can build these now as components that let me do animation. So just on the menu icon, I'm going to click on the menu icon, right click, make components. And I'm going to go here and add a default state. I have to do this twice, and I may not have to. I might be missing a step, but this works. So now I'll click on cities. So default state is the menu icon. Cities has this. On that step, I'm going to come over here and hold. This is the menu. Let me go ahead and give it a new name. So that's the menu icon. I'm going to hold shift. This is in cities. It's the new state. This is a component. It's already in cities. And I'm going to go up here and hold shift and select menu Barcelona and Paris. Right click. And I'm going to make component, even though it already was a component. And now I'm going to add a new state. So let me do new state, cities. I could probably also do this one as a hover. Now, back to default state. I want the cities to disappear. So I'm going to open this component, 5.1, and you'll see my options. I'm just going to hit the blank eyeball next to Paris and the blank eyeball next to Barcelona. I'll go back to cities and have to turn them back on now. So I'm going to open this component folder again, turn on Paris, turn on Barcelona. I'm holding my breath. Let me go back to default state. Let me go to cities. Okay, it looks like it may have worked. So now let me run it again. Now here's my menu icon. If I hit menu, oh, wait, I've got to add navigation. Okay, now, so I've got my default state, my cities. Now I have to add navigation. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into prototype from my component. So I'm on the menu icon. I'm on default state. Let me go to prototype. And I'm going to get a little navigation arrow here, a little blue arrow. When I click on that, this menu to the right will highlight. So let me click on that, and it's going to give me navigation. Now what I want to do is I want to tap auto animate. That's fine. And what I want to do is now, it said before, choose an artboard. Now I have the option to choose an artboard or a state. Now I want to choose a state. So what I'm going to do is click here and choose state, cities. So on default state, I have navigation. It auto animates me to cities. I'm not going to add navigation on the cities one. And the reason is I may have already done that. So now not only do I have the default state is just the menu icon, cities, the new state shows the 2 cities. They're individual text files. If I open component 5.1 here, it's not a group of texts. They aren't grouped together. Paris is independent. Barcelona is independent. They have independent navigation. So if I click prototype, I made Barcelona go to this one. Paris goes over to that one. The menu icon navigates to open up cities state. I did not give cities a navigation back to the menu icon. I left that off on purpose. And here's why. When I run it now, I actually get the navigation I want. So if I run it, it should go to here. Let me start on, oops. Let me start on the default state. Here's my default state. I can open the menu and go to Barcelona. When I go back, it closes back to the default state. I can hit Barcelona here, goes back to the default state. I can pull down the menu and hit Paris, navigate over here. Let's see if my horizontal slider works. It does. I'll hit the arrow back and it closes the menu. So now it reverts back to default state, partly because I was on default state when I hit run up here. So it defaults to that. But now I have my navigation. I had to make my city names, each individual lines, the menu icon. I made a component, but then I went to the new state, had the text turned on and created a new component. That's 3 items. It's the menu icon, the word Barcelona, the word Paris, 3 independent icons. I went to Paris and Barcelona and put that navigation to the other pages in first before I added those to the component. But now I have all the functionality I want. So I can open this, go to Barcelona, I can scroll vertically, I can go back, I can click the menu icon, go to Paris, scroll horizontally. There we go. I just wasn't doing it enough. And then I can go back to the main page. And when I go back to the home page, it closes the menu icon again. I can also navigate just by clicking on these images like we originally had it set up. I created my text as individual lines of text. If I open component 5 over here, you'll see it. I've got Paris and Barcelona as separate lines. Right now, the I is turned off because it's in default state. If I click on cities, they appear. So if I keep it on default state, when I hit run, it functions perfectly. So that solves that last problem. It's a multi-step process. It's a little frustrating, but at least it worked. And it's something I couldn't find on YouTube. So you actually have advantages there because you figured out how to do this. So build the item separately, put in your menu icon, your 2, 3, 4 lines of text as separate pieces of text. I did not copy and paste. I typed each one. I kept them separately. I didn't group them together. And then I made the menu a component first, then went to new state, cities with the text. And then I made a new component. I highlighted all of them together, the city names and the menu icon, highlighted them over here together, and then right clicked. So I basically like this, highlighting these 3, and then right click and make component. I did that again, had to add a new state. Then I had to go in like twice each, make sure in default state, the eyeballs were turned off on the city names, and on new state cities that the eyeballs were turned on. It took me a couple of steps, but it worked. And I was definitely doing it the right way. I just wasn't persistent enough. So if you're doing something simpler in states, and this will be logical, the trick with states that I'm trying to do is complicated because I'm literally adding more text. I'm adding more elements. If you just have something like a switch, or I just want this photo to get bigger, that's really easy. You go to new states, you make this photo bigger, you add italicized text to Paris, boom. It's really easy to alter existing elements in states. It's harder to have whole other elements up here in states, and that's the part I'm struggling with. But some of the other stuff is a piece of cake using states. And if I just want the second state to be here, new state, I'll just make it, I might do hover state just for fun. I'll go to hover state and just make all this stuff bigger. And so what I can do is, it's in this one, repeat grid, Barcelona. I'll just make the text bigger just for grins. So it's hideous, but so let me go back to here, select it, and let me see my states over here. Oh, it's the wrong component. It's this one. Okay, so there's the original, and here's the hover state. So let me save that and jump in. Again, existing elements are a lot easier. If I hover down here, you'll see the text get bigger. So states are actually pretty easy with existing elements. The hard part is like bringing whole new stuff on that wasn't there before. And so that's the catch. So that's a hover state, just real quickly using that tool. And it's actually pretty simple.